Okay, thank you. Welcome to a very, very wet Circuito de Jerez, the second of the European Championship races today. This is for the pros and the Pro-Am runners. The field was so big we had to split it. We'll not be debating whether to put slick tyres on their cars. It's definitely a wet start. One of the drivers is going to be starting from pit exit. This is round 6 out of 6. Therefore, races 11 and 12. My name is Bruce Jones, and I'm delighted to have Sandy Mitchell bringing some expertise at last up into the commentary box. These are going to be tricky conditions, Sandy.
Absolutely. I mean, looking out here at the start line, it's well drained on the start line with the way that the road's shaped, but looking at turn 1 and 2, there's a lot of standing water, so especially on the first couple of laps, it's going to be really difficult for these guys.
Yeah, and what we saw the race just ahead of this, which was for the Lamborghini Cup and the AM runners, the track was dry when it started, even sunny, but halfway around the first racing lap, the rain came down. The track then dried out a bit, but anyone going on the curbs, woe betide.
Absolutely, yeah, the curbs are going to be super slippery with the rain coming down now. And yeah, different conditions from how these guys qualified earlier. They were on the wet tyre, but it was borderline going onto the slick tyre. So yeah, difficult conditions, potentially the last time they're going to be on wets. So I'm sure they'll all have their best ones available, the most tread to get through that standing water. And yeah, got to pray that the car sticks on the first lap.
Yeah, these things all count. Now, we were talking about how some just ventured onto slicks. We've got a really unusual situation with our championship leading car in the pro class starting down in 14th position at the hands of Lagima Ali, whereas the championship second place car, which isn't too far behind, well actually it's 9.5 points down, which seems a lot. That's Amory Bonduel, who drives the whole race on his own. He's starting 5th.
Yep.
So the roll of the dice has worked for him, but look at this weather.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be a lottery. We'll start it behind the safety car as far as I understand it. That's still a message, but this is a properly slick track now.
Absolutely. I mean, Bonduel going into this race will definitely be looking to capitalise. 9.5 points, like you say. So, yeah, a real opportunity with the other car starting outside the points, the number 9 car. And, yeah, this is a good chance for him to have a good chance going into tomorrow to fight for the title.
And in a weird sort of way, they have been such good pairing, Ali and Soderstrom and Bonduel on his own, that they're way clear of anybody else in the championship. So nobody else is going to be doing anything other than just trying to win the race. They've got to do the maths, and what does Bonduel need to do? Get towards the front, because that's where life is simpler. Not just because you're not in someone else's spray, but also if someone in front hangs it loose, puts the tail out, they can catch you as you're trying to go past. So you need to get there. For Lagim Ali, he's got to be so cautious, and this circuit is not an easier one on which to pass.
Absolutely not. It's a very fast-flowing circuit. The rain probably helps slightly, potentially, to create some more unusual overtaking opportunities that might not be available in dry conditions. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting race, and we'll see how it unfolds.
Right, one team that's already done well today in the European Championship was Artline, and they've got Igor Oritsev running in the pro class. He's starting 2nd on the grid. But Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, they're up at the front end again. That's Alex Frasinetti sharing with Ignazio Zanon, all-Italian pair for an Italian team boss, former Formula 3000 front-runner champion Vincenzo Sospiri. But he's one of many people who would want to be here, but he's also busy this weekend in Macau. So motor racing can be very busy indeed. One car that really came up the order is the one with Brendan Leach in. It's the Lipert Motorsport car. The Kiwis had great success in Super Trofeo racing. And this weekend is looking to see what he can deliver, sharing with the American racer Anthony McIntosh. This is the car you need to look out for. Starting 5th on the grid, Amory Bonduel, 2nd in the championship, and as Sandy pointed out, 9.5 points down. What does 9.5 points mean? Victory is 15, 2nd is 12 points, 3rd is 10 points. If he can get a handful of others between him and Lagim Ali's car, that would almost wipe that out.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Ifs and buts, 50-minute race in this sort of weather, well, it's a rolling of the dice, isn't it?
Yeah, so many variables, but like you say, he'll be fully focused on trying to get into that top 3 in the pro class. Like you say, that would give him more than 10 points, which really tomorrow then just makes it a shootout between the 2 cars. And yeah, nothing better as a driver going into the last race with the adrenaline flowing, trying to win the championship. So yeah, he'll be doing everything he can today to make that happen.
Yeah, one of the Pro-Am runners with the blue flash on the windscreen iron links is Claude Gosselin Joran Lenoitre car. Is going to be starting from pit exit. Kevin Gilladoni is one of our drivers, where we get to see whether he blinks when he races. And today I'd suggest one of the concerns, of course, is keeping all your windows from steaming up, and certainly that's not everybody's friend. You expect that more at Spa-Francorchamps than Nürburgring, but here we are in the southwest of Spain, and it's going to be an issue. So 15 rows of cars. The clock has already started counting down for 50 minutes because we're starting behind the safety car. There's the message. I sort of feel that if they'd started the race not behind the safety car, it'd be coming out quite soon anyway, because this is a narrow track, and the difference between the track that has a bit of grip even in the rain and the curbs that absolutely do not is quite narrow here. It's very narrow here, let's be honest.
Yeah, it's narrow. The curbs are normally a massive part of how to go fast here when the track's dry. So you might see some of the cars still exploring using some of the curbs even in the wet conditions, but overall the grip's going to be much lower.
Okay, let's take a look at the grid. Frederick Schandorf, been here, seen it, done it, won it. He's back again. He's on pole position. Igor Oretsev alongside. Then Alex Fascinetti for VSR and Brendan Leach, the Kiwi, for Lippert, starting from row 2 in 3rd and 4th positions. 5th position, championship runner-up at the moment, the chaser, if you want, Amory Bonduel, car number 28, and Lucetti alongside him, going well for Target Racing. But again, these times a little bit jumbled. Enzo Garacci starts 7th, and Matteo Michelotto, so much success, particularly on the Italian GT scene, is 8th. Hampus Eriksson in 9th, and Milos Pavlovic starts alongside on the outside of row number 5. That's the side away from the pit wall. That's the side in front of the grandstand. Then Bostandiev and Jesse Salmanatio, one of the many Finnish racers who races out in the east as well, in Asian series from time to time. Lucas Papin and Largim Ali, 14th place for car number 9. Let's see the progress. That is the car that leads the championship by 9.5 points. He's got a mountain to climb. Simon Gachet maybe make progress. Alberto Di Folco, well, he's been around the block a long time for Viorba. So again, seeing some quick names a bit further back than you expected. Lucas Segu, Jerzy Spinkovic, starting 17th and 18th, getting down towards the tail, but it's a full grid. Egyptian racer, don't get to say that too often. Emmanuel Bidawi and Sebastian Balthazar, he's in another of the Lippert Motorsport cars in 20th. Edgar Malouin and Kevin Gilladoni, another of our onboard camera cars, starts a bit further back in 22nd. Renaud Coupens and driver who's sharing the lead in the Pro-Am class, Bronislav Formaniec, and then comes Rodrigo Testa, Portuguese driver, Alberto Clemente Pisani, Italian, and then on row 14, Laszlo Todt and Milos Pavlicek. Getting down to the final row is Dimitri Engelbert and Claude Gosselin, and in fact it's the car that would be starting at the tail that is sitting at pit exit. That's the one we spotted, hasn't lost track position, 2nd lap behind the safety car. And again, absolutely right, because the rain is continuing to fall. It's as heavy as it's been, Sandy. They might as well give them another lap behind the safety car. Sort it out, dry a little bit of it off, but I think as soon as they're burning it off, it's...
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably the most difficult conditions the drivers have had all weekend, so 2 laps to get a little bit used to it. Great for the car that was starting pit lane. They're now on the back of the field, but I feel like Frederick will also be quite happy this is starting under the safety car. Pole position going into turn 1. He would actually going to be on the outside of the corner, which would have made it pretty difficult going down into turn 1. So he'll be able to set the pace, hopefully get a good launch from his perspective coming out of the last corner, and yeah, try and pull away as much as possible and give his teammate a nice lead.
Well, that's the plan. What's Kevin Gilladoni planning? He's a lot to do. He's showing with Pietro Perolini, but he's down. I think we saw him in 22nd position. This is a view from his cockpit, and we'll see. This is the happy hunting ground in a way. Turn 5 at the top of your screen, longest straight down to turn 6, the right-hand hairpin. But there's a little bit of tarmac out beyond the white line that marks the edge of the circuit. Then there's a very, very large gravel trap. How much money on one car at least going in down there? We'll see. Let's hope not. And sometimes, bizarrely, when the conditions are at their worst, drivers realise they can't take risks.
Absolutely.
And back it off. Sometimes when it's dry, it seems counter-intuitive, but sometimes that's the way, when that's what brings out the red flags. But look how little visibility they have.
Yeah, you can see here a great shot from the onboard camera. I mean, geez, the spray from the cars in front is going to be very tricky. So you'll probably see cars fanning out towards turn one, try and at least see their braking point rather than just relying purely on the brake lights coming on in the car ahead, which is never a nice feeling. So yeah, it's as tricky as it gets out here, and I'm sure there'll be a bit of aquaplaning as well. So yeah, you can see in the chicane there it's looking wet, but safety car lights are off, so it looks like we're good to go.
I can't believe you're not telling me that drivers go out of turn 7, 2, 3, 4, turn 8, do it by counting, but no, certainly trying to find those marker points at the side of the circuit. So, on pole position, we've got Frederick Schandorf, the black car, alongside, or behind him, the metallic blue one of Igor Oretsev, then Alex Frasinetti and Brendan Leach. That's row number 2, the white car, the black and yellow one. Then Amaury Bonduelle in 5th, that's the gold car. He's 2nd in the championship, and he's 9 positions further up the grid than the championship challenging car of Lagim Ali. And off they go. Looks nice and clean. No one could overtake before the start-finish line. But it's after you, Claude. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Will there be a move up into turn 1? Well, we'll find out when they get there. But I think in the pro class, they're too wise to do something rash on the first corner of a race when conditions are like this, with visibility like this. This is Kevin Gilladoni, as we said. He's down in 22nd position. Might be in 21st when he comes out of the corner. He can't see a thing. Tiptoes, and quite rightly so. First 3 positions as they were. Schandorf, Oretsev, Frasinetti, Brendan Leach in 4th, Amaury Bonduelle in 5th. Had been a place change, a place gained by car number 61. Enzo Garacci's moved ahead of Guido Luchetti. You'll have to take my word for that, because you can't see it out on the track. Yes, I can just see them in the background. But what we're seeing, Sandy, is a good getaway there from how late can the braking be for our race leader, Frederick Schandorf. Gets the job done. 3rd is the battle that was getting close. Brendan Leach in the black and yellow car from Lippert making a move, or a look at a move. Round the outside, car number 10. That's Luchetti. He's lost 1. He's lost 2 positions now on this lap.
Yeah, Michelotto having a good start on the first lap, making some moves there. So yeah, you can see the drivers searching for the grip. Normally, obviously, braking on the outside of the track, but now look, searching for the grip offline, trying to stay off that rubber and get the best braking performance possible. As we see a slight move for P3 here as well.
Now, was that a serious look from Brendan Leach, or just an unsettling one? I think it was experimentation, but certainly it puts a doubt in the mind of Frasinetti that he can hang on. And in a way, that's when you suddenly can just brake a little too late, when you're looking to see if a car's somewhere surprising. But that is a properly slick, shiny surface.
Absolutely. Brendan's looking quick on this lap, a driver that's not short of commitment. So, yeah, he's looking to try and get into that top 3 and, yeah, make some progress as soon as possible.
Well, he comes from Invercargill in the very south of the South Island of New Zealand, so he's no stranger to rain. I know he races a lot in Asia, but actually, in fairness, in Asia, when it rains in biblical fashion, doesn't it? So he's quite accustomed to a slick surface. So the first 4 making their moves. There's a gap behind them of another 3 seconds back to Bonduelle, who stays in 5th position. So what we have is a Pro-Am leading the field. This is the field split between the Pros and the Pro-Ams, but of course it's the Pro part of that Pro-Am partnership, which is Frederick Schandorf, leading the race by 1.4 seconds. This is the car that started absolutely last. It was going to go from a pit exit, but with the second safety car lap, it got on the back of the pack. Now, a replay of, so it started at the back and got to visit the gravel as well. Oh dear, Claude Gosselin. Well, we know he got out of the gravel, but that would have been that moment. Any moment like that, you're feeling what end of the car's going to sink, don't you? Yeah, he's done really well there to keep it going, and thankfully it stayed pointing in the right directions. Brendan goes for a big lunge there. Well, that's a move for 3rd. Quick in, will it be? Well, he held the position on the way out. I mean, that had been coming for a lap and a half, but good move all the same. And he's in the same class. He's also running in the Pro-Am class. In fact, the top all-pro lineup is, well, Igor Oretsev, who'll do the entire race. He's got to come in. And if you're just joining us on the first day of 4 here at Circuito de Jerez, let me point out, not all these crews are 2-driver crews. If you're in a 2-driver crew, from pit in, driver change, pit out, 86 seconds minimum. If you're driving solo, you have to spend an extra 3 seconds, 89 seconds from pit in to pit out. Right, here's the gap, 3 seconds for our race leader. And then, well, that's obviously changed because this is in the Pro-Am class, of course. Frasinetti is 4th on the road, 3rd in the class. But it's the gaps are spreading out behind them. We saw very early on sadly, the way the first 4 or 5 cars got clear. And now Fredrik Schandorf, race leader, just going out of shot, chased by Igor Oritsev. We've seen the black and yellow car of Brendan Leach come into 3rd position. Frassinetti tucked in behind. Looking for place changes. The car I'm looking for is Ali. Well, car number 6 making the moves is Matteo Michelotto, but remember our championship leading car started 14th. It's in 15th place.
Yeah, interestingly, the championship cars are having a little bit of a slow start. Bonduelle as well being a little bit cautious, but equally for him, although he's P5 overall, he's still P2 in the Pro class, so he'll be looking to overtake the amateur drivers in the Pro-Am cars when they come out the pits, and if he can get into the stay in the top 2 or 3 cars, that's still a great load of points going into tomorrow.
Yeah, it's very easy in these races, normally 4 classes, but today we've got them all split down the middle.
Big moment for Fredrik there from the lead, so you can see how much these drivers are pushing.
Well, they're pushing hard, and also pushing hard is Dakota in the pit lane. Who have you got, Dakota?
It is a very, very wet period. I'm with Leonardo in number 61, the currently in 6th position. Now, Leonardo, you were saying to me, the track is really difficult in this kind of conditions. Did you ever find that they were actually able to hit the curb or not?
So I've seen that now with the track. It's really difficult to use the curves because this morning when I did the race, it was wet, the track was drier, and it was possible to use the curves, over the curves. Now it's more difficult, but we are going really good. We are P6, P3 in the Pro, so we continues to push.
This was your best qualifying yet, all year round. I mean, how does it feel to the end of the year season with your best qualifying?
It feels really good. The pace this morning was really, really good. In qualifying, it was really fast, and also the team did a fantastic job, and I'm really happy about that.
Obviously, being part of the Lamborghini Young Drivers program as well, how have they helped you to develop as a driver in races and situations like this?
Yeah, we have the opportunity to work with coaches, and this allows us to get feedback and get together, all the young together, so we can work together to improve.
Congratulations, Owen. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to Leonardo Caglioni down there with Dakota. Now, you do a bit of driver coaching as well, don't you? So I saw a lot of you old birds watching the old laugh, but coaching is so important, particularly in one-make championship. Any small advantage you can gain or can be offered, not everyone learns. You know, you get good pupils, bad pupils, but there is so much you can put across them, isn't it, Sandy?
Yeah, absolutely. The young drivers will be gaining a lot from being on the young driver program. And yeah, speaking of coaching, the likes of Brendan and Fredrik and Schandorf in the Pro-Am cars are taking on a coaching role as well when they're in the Pro-Am cars. That's a lot of the racing that I've been doing the last couple of years as Pro-Am as well. And yeah, it's a huge part, you know, getting the Am driver to be as close to your pace as possible, and that makes the biggest difference when it comes to Pro-Am racing.
And of course, the very nature of the beast is that some people wanting to learn are very confident, some are not. You know, it's the spectrum of personality, isn't it? You automatically think if anyone's racing, they're super confident. It's not the case. It's also how they can take criticism or positive approach. But right now, you can see the drivers at the front of the field. We look at Igor Oritsev. He doesn't need any coaching. He's flying around. He's just starting to chip away at Fredrik Schandorf. The gap's down to 1.6 seconds now. Fastest lap in the race to Igor last time around. 2 minutes, 0.7 seconds. Will we go under 2 minutes? Very hard to tell, but it's likely to be someone at the front of the race. Amaury Bonduelle, championship leader, has actually lost a place because Matteo Michelotto picked off Enzo Garacci. He's gone past Bonduelle, but Bonduelle is just cautioned. He'll have been told that the car he's racing in the championship has lost 1 position. He's now lost 1 position, so it stays the same, 9 positions between them. But that's including some Pro-Am runners. You touched on the fact you only get points for your class. Let's not complicate things. From Bonduelle's situation, any points he can gain will be useful. Their championship will be sorted tomorrow in the 12th and final race.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not going quite to plan for him. Obviously, Matteo Michelotto there making moves, and it looks like he's under a bit of pressure from behind here as well. So, yeah, he's got, like you said earlier, ideally you want to have a nice smooth race, no other cars too close to you in case they make any mistakes as well. So I'm sure it's a little bit nervy inside the helmet for him at the moment.
Quite nervy in the pit garages as well, so people looking on that's Unique Racing, and just running the 1 car. Still, not surprising, bit of water on the lens, a lot of spray all around the circuit, but for our race leader, looking very smooth as you need to be in these conditions. Frederick Schandorf, car number 81. Looks as though it's been a better lap. He gained quarter of a second last. Oh yeah. Would we get anyone under 2 minutes? I think we may now. The answer is coming. Yeah, the gap is opening out. I think that was caution. He's the driver, our race leader, with clear view. But I think he was also just waiting, not pushing as hard as he possibly could. Igor Oritsev definitely was in those opening laps. Brendan Leach is now starting to close in third place. Top 3 cars covered by under 4 seconds. Here's Amaury Bonduel. He's still got Enzo Garacci behind him, the pink, yellow and green car from Oregon team. I think he's just decided to take caution. Just don't lose any positions. Largimali is still down in 15th place, still stuck behind Alberto Di Folco. Stuck in the ball of spray, and is just going to be pressing on. So Oliver Soderstrom will be waiting to take over from Largimali. Will he be taking over in 15th place? Quite possibly. And I would suggest maybe Largimali's just not particularly happy in this really, really wet weather, so he might pit quite early to hand over to Soderstrom.
Yeah, you can see if one of the drivers in the combinations maybe a little bit more confident in the wet weather, then we could see a slightly different strategy to usual. So yeah, we'll see. Just as we were saying that Frederick was getting closed down a little bit, he seems to have responded really well, and a couple of fastest laps in a row it's looking like here. So yeah, the leader's looking good out front. He'll be looking to try and add another world final win to his resume this week, and yeah, he's doing well so far.
And as well as the title, what do you get for winning the world final? Fame and glory.
And a big trophy, yeah.
A trophy. Well, you know, when you get to look back, trophies have a special place. And now that's a classic case of just who can get the power down earlier coming out of the final corner. Very arty shots in the reflection on the window, but still so much spray. And is there a place change? Well, Largimali, there he is. He's got Jesse Salmonauccio trying to go around him. Is he about to lose a position? I think not, because he's in the right line, or the inside line when you go to turn 2. But this isn't what he wants. For Largimali, championship leader, he wants clear track. They all want clear track, but he needs to make progress. He doesn't want to lose another position, and he very nearly did then. Oh, so Largim, the Danish driver, would not be enjoying this at the moment. It didn't go to plan in qualifying. It's not going for plan here. He would have expected to gain 2 or 3 positions and chip his way forward. Doesn't have to worry about the Pro-Am class cars, but right now he's stuck in the middle of a battle. Who is not stuck in the middle of a battle? Our race leader. Our first 2 cars actually quite a way clear now. Fastest lap, under 2 minutes, 1:59.5. Race leader, Frederick Schandorf for CMR.
Yeah, interestingly, Brendan Leach looked really quick for the opening laps, but Frederick's just getting faster and faster now out front, so we're maybe starting to see maybe some different tyre pressures and setups from the teams. You know, it's extremely wet now, so naturally you'd be going a bit higher in the tyre pressures, but maybe Frederick looks like he's just nailed it and is just getting faster and faster each lap now.
Yeah, I said he was CMR. I actually mean Target Racing. So Target done a great job in setting up the car for the Dane, and the Dane doing a fantastic job at the wheel. Now, what are we seeing here? Well, even in the wet, you know, largely stay off the curves, but at the tighter corners, 11 and 12, you got to monster the curves, and that was neat and tidy and just enough contact. Actually, the last thing you want is to land on that wet grass on the inside. That will have you really powering up where you don't want the power. Great shots, all that spray coming out of the front wheel arch, going around the aerodynamic addenda on the side, spitting off the back of that wing mirror. Not that Frederick Schandorf has time to admire the art. He's banged in another fastest lap, found another half second there, and no wonder his advantage is growing. 2.5 seconds clear of Igor Oritsev. But bear in mind, Frederick Schandorf is in a Pro-Am driver lineup, whereas Igor Oritsev doesn't have to share with anybody. His pit stop will be 3 seconds longer for Oritsev, but he will carry on. So he's a pro in this field, running in the Pro class.
Yeah, he's really in the hot seat right now, sitting there P2 overall, and he's had a really strong finish to the season, I think, taking wins in Nürburgring and Barcelona. So yeah, come on very strong towards the end of the year, and yeah, he'll definitely be looking not only at for these 2 races, you know, the championship's just slightly out of his grasp now potentially, but going into the world final he'll be feeling confident.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, if you look at his first 3 results this season, it wasn't something that set up a championship. 20th, retired 45th. Yeah, well, that emphasises the size of the field, but to come back from that, he's in the mix, not for the championship, but definitely, as you say, for the world finals. So actually, that's another reason why the world finals are so good. a couple of things might be beyond your own control. You end up with 0 points. It's only a 12-race championship across 6 race meetings, but you can fight back and you can take a title.
Exactly, that's
equal or greater.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it at the end of the year. I think we saw that a little bit last year with Brendan Leach winning the title, but then Bonduelle winning it in the World Final. So after a tricky year for him. So yeah, it's really cool to have one of the biggest races of your year right at the end, and winner takes all, really.
I thought you were about to say a blazing Spanish sunshine. I think we might get that. I'm actually sensing it's brightening up a little bit out on the circuit. I think the rain. It's still raining, but it's not what it was. Of course, the spray is still immense. This is the battle. 8th place overall. Guido Lichetti, Hampus Eriksson. Luke Eriksson is the car at the front of that group, car number 31, and in the Pro-Am class behind, being pushed very well by Lichetti.
Yeah, great move into the last corner there. We're seeing some quite interesting lines in the last corner. Some drivers opting to go for the traditional wet line, going out wide initially, and some committing to the dry line. It might be slippery to begin with, but it will grip up in the middle of the corner. So, yeah, interesting to see, and a good chance for overtaking with the different lines there.
The pit window is now open. You can see that message at the top of your screen. Open until the little clock in the green band gets down to 20 minutes remaining. If you're in a Pro-Am lineup, you're going to keep your pro driver out if they're with the starting driver as long as you possibly can. Look at this battle. It might only be for 15th position, and at that very moment, Jesse Salmonaucio goes off the circuit. Remember a short while ago he was challenging Largim Ali, so Ali has suddenly got the place back. Salmonaucio has now fallen back. I think he's had another moment to fall back to the little group behind, and now he's just lost out, so that's really unfortunate for him. But I do think it's a little dry down there. Looking back from turn 6, the hairpin at the end of the back straight, there's not a dry line, but for a lot of the drivers, they're coming in now. Pit lane's got about a handful of cars in there. Oregon team right at the front of the batch there. Door open, driver out. You can see, yeah, I think a couple of others just down in behind. But for the front runners, they're staying out. Frederick Schandorf leading by 3.3 seconds now. He was just going through the background of the shot, I fancy. Yes, he was. Igor Oritsev coming through in second place. Fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 58.7. Is there going to be any improvement from Schandorf? 59.2. No improvement, but still going very well. Amory Bonduelle is coming in to hand over to himself. He will have a pit stop 3 seconds longer than his rivals. Just remember that time from that line there, pit entry line, down to 50 kph. Unless you want to pick up a penalty. 89 seconds from that line to when he must pass over the white line exiting the pits. In fact, he can go over it any time he wants. If he goes over it now, he'll get a big penalty, but you know what I mean. Serve the pit stop and go out.
Yeah, nice chilled pit stop for him. He can just gather his thoughts, reset potentially after a difficult first stint in tricky conditions. It looks like he had his team going on quickly with the tyre gauges to maybe let some air out of the tyres, so there's a good chance he was feeding back how the car was feeling during that stint, and they can maybe make a small improvement with the tyre pressure adjustment.
But, you know, like Igor Oritsev, he's running solo, so the longer pit stop, but the advantage, he pretty much knows what the track is like, but also those adjustments in tyre pressures are to suit him.
Yeah.
You know, in a 2-driver lineup, one driver might be happier on tyres with more pressure in the rain than the other. You know, it's just not uniform.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, the 3 seconds can make quite a big difference, especially in the pro class. But when conditions are like this, it's a massive advantage being able to go out the pit lane and being able to get on it straight away, especially when the conditions are different to how they've been previously in the weekend. So, yeah, he'll be looking to try and gain almost all of that back on the first couple of laps if he can. Potentially why he's come in early, because he should get a bit more free air at that point as well, so that he might be able to just get his head down, and by the time he catches some of the other cars coming out the pits, he'll be fully up to speed, and that might make the overtaking a little bit easier.
Yeah, and it also means if he felt the tyres were the wrong pressure, he'll have longer period on the tyres, the pressures that suit him. Frederick Schandorf continuing on his way. Expect him to not come in for about another 5 minutes. Igor Oritsev losing ground, pushing still very, very hard. And in behind Brendan Leach there is in third position, black and yellow car. Then Frasinetti comes through this, and the sister car of Matteo Michelotto, 2 VSR cars coming. That got up into 5th position, 2nd in the pro class, and he's just sliding that one down the pit lane. And he doesn't share with anyone, so he again has an extra 3 seconds. But I think in conditions like these, if you've got a pro driver on his own, those 3 seconds you don't lose them. You gain overall, but then again, a lot of drivers are in this series as pros because there is an AM that wants to race with them, and that's one of the beauties of the Super Trofeo. certainly for pro drivers. You can bring on an AM driver, they can get to race with people like you, Sandy, and that is why the grid is so big that it had to be divided for 2 separate races.
Yeah, it's great to see so many cars, and like you say, having to split the grid up is yeah, just shows the strength of the field, not only in Europe but also in America. Loads of cars, and yeah, this championship just goes from strength to strength, and it's fantastic to see.
Well, 83 cars entered across the Asian, North American and European series here. And we've got Friday's racing to complete each of those 3 championships. Some of the titles are already sorted out this morning and early afternoon here at Jerez, but then the rest will be sorted tomorrow. Then we go to 2 days of the World Finals. Hampus Eriksson sitting in the pit lane. Car number 2's in there as well, which is the Boots and VDS. Rowie Mayo has the Renault Coupen's car. It'll be Rowie who's taking that over. But in the pit lane, you can see a heat haze above the car as it sits there. But for most of the drivers, the main heat is in the cockpit, because it's certainly a nervous place to be in conditions like this. Not so much if your name is Fredrik Schandorf, who's now 5 seconds clear. Here he is. Fredrik putting up a huge amount of spray. And he will be coming in for target racing sometime relatively soon. I'd say in another 1 minimum, 2 maximum laps from now, to hand over to a driver from Hong Kong, Alex Howell, and Igor Oritsev. Again, one of the drivers running solo. He comes in from the lead of the pro class, and he has no one to hand over to. So longer pit stop, but greater experience and knowledge of track conditions. Does 50 kilometers an hour seem unbelievably slow when you come into a pit lane?
It really does, especially when everyone else is zooming past you on the straight, or especially if you've got a penalty, like a drive-through penalty or something like that. It feels like it's 20, and yeah, it's painful. But he'll know that everyone else has got to do the same thing, so the main thing that he's focusing on is not going too fast into the pit lane. He looked pretty committed there. I could see him going quite wide, and making sure that he doesn't go under the minimum pit stop time.
Yeah, that is almost the ultimate fail, isn't it? You've got this minimum pit stop time, something which is still a relatively recent introduction, but for a team boss, you spent, you know, 6 laps caning it around the Nürburgring Nordschleife and trying to find a 10th here there, and then you blow 40 seconds just at the drop of the hat.
Exactly. I think that you know, most cars will have a system inside the car like a Race Logic with GPS coordinates, and the drivers, it's kind of then left down to the drivers to manage that, and you get a live delta as you're going down the pit lane to see if you're under or over that time. So as long as that's working fine, then as a driver you can be quite confident, but sometimes it's not, and you have to go to your backup plan, which is maybe your mechanic with a stopwatch as you come in the line. So yeah, normally you have 2 or 3 different options, because it's like you say, you can spend the whole race trying to find tenths of a second and easily lose loads in the pit lane.
And yet I can almost not think of a GT race in which that hasn't happened to someone. And so still it happens. You can understand heat of battle, but I guess at the moment, car number 81, Fredrik Schandorf, working around his lap. He may come into pit this time. His turn, here he is, out of turn 14. I reckon he could do 1 more lap. He's got just under 3 minutes remaining. He's been lapping at almost 2 minutes on the nose. Last lap, 1 minute 59.1. Best lap, 1 minute 58.7, but he's been very, very consistent in this. Let's see what he puts in this time. 1 minute 59.1. 1 minute, wait for the time to come on the screen, of course, if you watch. 1 minute 59.4. So that's fast and consistent. So he's doing a fantastic job. And Alex Howell, his teammate, will be very, very pleased with that indeed. And actually, they raced together a very long time ago, pre-COVID, out in Blancpain, Asia as a pair. But Alex Howell, for one of the Far East drivers who races a lot all around the world, so, you know, they've raced over here. But, you know, when you've got a good, successful driver pairing, they can last the test of time. You know, I can think of some that went on for several decades. I think Tracy Crone and Nicholas Jonsson had the record for that, racing in the States, racing Le Mans, etc., etc. But, you know, when a relationship works and, you know, someone's paying the bills as a pro driver, you're quite happy to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, they've had a lot of success, and yeah, Fredrik's opened up a really nice gap to hand over here. So yeah, he's done his job perfectly, and now it's down to Alex.
Again, you can see that the very quickest drivers in that turns 11 and 12 chicane, and we've seen quite a bit of footage of this car, and it's real precision. It looks like they're just cutting the corner, but there's more to it than that, isn't it? It's knowing when then to get the pedal how far to depress the throttle as you're coming out, how soon to do it, and
yeah, it's one of the slowest. Well, it is the slowest corner on the track, but one of the most technical in terms of the way that you use the curbs, the angle that you hit the curb so that it doesn't upset the car when you then put the throttle on as the car's landing. So, yeah, although it's the slowest corner on the track, it's one where you can gain and lose potentially the most time. So, yeah, the drivers will focus on that a lot when they're with their coaches and all that kind of thing, and yeah, really trying to maximize the curb usage.
Okay, coming in this time from the race lead. He was careful on the curbs there, didn't want to blow in when you've got a quarter of a lap going. So comes on the inside of turn 15, into the pit lane goes Fredrik Schandorf, already waited, suited, booted and waiting outside Target Racing's pit garage will be Alex Au. And then, of course, when Au comes out, we will get to see how far ahead he'll be of Igor Oritsev, who should be moving into second place overall, because remember, he was about 5 seconds behind before he dived in a couple of laps. No, it was right in the previous lap, wasn't it? From that second place in the race. But I think the advantage has been stretched and stretched by Fredrik Schandorf, and that certainly is a helping hand for Target Racing and for Alex Au. So driver from Hong Kong getting on board, driver from Denmark, but who's done a lot of racing in the Far East, out of the car. And this is right down towards the pit exit end of the pit lane. The car looking quite sinister with its black and yellowy gold race livery there. Just waiting to see what sort of pace we're going to be getting from Igor Oritsev when he's, you know, getting going on his second stint, when he's at full flying lap pace. Door closed, but of course you might go, why is Alex Au not blasting off? That's because he's being held there. He has to stay under 86 seconds from the moment he entered the pit lane, or his car entered the pit lane in the hands of Fredrik Schandorf, to when he crosses the white line that demarcates the pit exit. Oh, we've got someone high wide and the Jolly Roger on the roof, but car 14 is not going anywhere fast now. That's Oregon team's Pietro Perolini. Kevin Ghilardoni started and trying to work out where there is on the track. I think it's turn 5, and he's gone in backwards, which is the corner just beyond our commentary position, if I'm right. Let's take a look at the replay. Turn 4, grabbed too much curb, and the consequences are there to be seen. Pietro Perolini, he could see what was happening and just grimacing in advance. And just waiting to see, oh, are we going to have a safety car? Yes, we are. There's the band coming to the top corner screen. Right, bear in mind the race order. It's Alex Au, 2 cars listed second and third, Frasinetti and Pavlovich. They've actually pitted late. They're sitting in the pits. It should be Igor Oritsev coming round into second place. But when an incident like this happens, all of a sudden, you can suddenly get the race order changing a bit. But there's Matteo Michelotto going up. And so Oritsev in second, Frasinetti in third. So for Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, there's their second car in fourth place. Matteo Michelotto driving solo. And then Anthony McIntosh, car number 99, up into fifth. He's sharing that with Brendan Leach, who went hard in the first part of the race. Now, car... Well, I tell you what, the driver who was outstanding in that opening stint, he's already been corralled in the paddock. The first time he's been caught all day, and Dakota has got Fredrik Schandorf.
I do have the very quick Fredrik. That was an amazing stint from you. You just pulled away from the rest of the field. After, you know, 2019 and winning here within the World Final, must have given you a really big boost to come back here and show your strengths again.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be back here. Obviously the condition is not the best, but it's super fun to drive in, and I was just glad I could deliver the car for Alex. They've been working really hard for this to be ready again for the World Final. We haven't only done one race this year, so we have a bit to work with in the practice, but now he's really good. He's really getting back to pace, and I'm really looking forward for Saturday and Sunday now.
Look, not that we have any doubt in Alex, but if the camera looks behind us, just behind the pit boxes, you can see a silver lining, a big fluffy white cloud. What do you think those chances are of these clouds coming over here by the end of the race?
Maybe not for our session, I think, but I think this is going to be very tricky to the end. Obviously, the tires actually drain your water very well. I'm glad the race director put in one extra lap in for the beginning, because it was actually just too dangerous. Also, a few cars spun on the formation lap, so I think they did the right decision there. So now it's just fun to be back racing. Hopefully
they can clear the car quick and we can get in the last 10 minutes of the race.
Obviously, looking at the onboards, and obviously you don't really have this problem being the first, you know, the guys with the spray and the condensation in the car, is that actually a problem? I know you've got a fan in the car, but from what it looks like watching the race, it looks like there's a lot of condensation going on in the car.
Yeah, there's a lot of condensation. We have the blower, so it helps, but it's not easy. So it's just so much spray right now. It's actually just difficult. Even to follow the safety car, you can just see the headlights pretty much. So I think after the first and the second lap, I actually start to clear up a little bit. Now it's getting worse again.
I was like that. Good luck for the rest of the race. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dakota. Thank you very much indeed. And so, but of course, 81 was leading by a large margin before the pit stops. After the safety car has come out after the pit stops, Alex Au has got Igor Oritsev right under his rear wing. So, who's happy, who's sad in the pit lane? We'll find out because we've only got a quarter of an hour remaining. But the restart of this race when the safety car pulls off, I really rather fancy Igor Oritsev. He's got the feel. Done the first half of the race to pounce. However, let's see what Alex Au could do to pick it up. Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, they're third and fourth, and it's Ignazio Zanon, of course, who's taken over car number 16. He's got Matteo Michelotto behind him, and that will be a little bit of an interesting battle if two teammates get too close together. I know Vincenzo, the team boss, is in Macau, but he will notice if you have a clash, so let's hope they don't.
Yeah, I think from Frederick and Alex Au's point of view, this is not ideally what they wanted from Frederick opening up such a nice gap. They've now, Alex has now got the full pro field right behind him, so it's going to be tricky on that restart for him. But if he can hang in there and even if he's getting overtaken, just stay calm and keep it on the track. We're not going to have too long to go, so that'll be his main aim.
Well, the rain's still hammering down. You can see it falling off the edge of the building on that person in the yellow and green jacket. Right, just looking at the championship battle, Amaury Bonduelle is 6th. That makes him 2nd in the pro class. And the car he was chasing against is down in 8th place. Oliver Soderstrom, or 8th place in class, down in 14th overall. But places could be gained on the restart. Hopefully we'll get the restart. That car will be removed from the garage. But let's go down and hear from the driver who's leading the championship for now. He's with Dakota. His name is Lagim Ali.
Lagim, now you're leading the championship. It's a great place to be in, but obviously not a great race for you today. What could be possible, you know, for the rest of the race, if the safety car goes in, that is?
Well, hopefully just keep it on track and get the points that we have right now, and just hopefully Oliver could just keep it in land.
Are you lacking speed? What's the problem? Because you guys have been really quick all year, and it doesn't seem like this is either the best track for you or it's not the best of you guys.
No, I just I gambled in qualifying, and I just lost massively.
No, but during the race, obviously qualifying's one thing, but this race pace, you don't seem to be up to. Obviously, Shandolf has been flying.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, in this rain, like you can barely see anything, you can barely drive, like you can't really overtake. It's really difficult. You just have to hope that the others in front make a mistake or anything. You can't really overtake with pace. That's the problem.
And where would you say like the worst bits of the track is for aquaplaning?
Turn 7. That's really bad.
So if you're watching at home, turn 7 is the one to watch. Thank you very much, Lagim. We will watch Oliver. Let's see what he can do for the rest of the race. You never know.
Yes.
Good luck.
So Lagim Ali there, his shoulders are down, aren't they? And everything he said, but there is an element of truth. But when you start way down in the line, your options are limited, and you don't want to take the risk of blowing the whole thing. I have a certain sympathy, but he gambled on tyres this morning. Slicks, rain tyres, it was a wet track, but coming here, he might have thought qualifying in the top 2 rows would be okay, but qualifying 14th, that's quite another matter.
Yeah, it's been a tough day for them, but luckily for them, Bonduelle's not in the lead of the pro class at the moment, so it's looking like they're going to be potentially still in the lead of the championship going into tomorrow. So they've definitely got to pick themselves back up for the rest of the race and also overnight. And yeah, it's still their championship to win, and go and do a good job and try and bring that home for the team.
Can I just throw something at you? As you were speaking, a message came up on screen, and 8 cars under investigation for pit stop. Possible infringements, including Amaury Bonduelle.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I don't like to just build drama into a drama-filled race, but the timing of things is quite interesting. But for Lagim Ali and his teammate Oliver Soderstrom, they are not under consideration for any possible pit stop misdemeanors. But we will wait and see on that. We don't want to second guess what the stewards are going to decide. For the pit crews down there, they should have done their last pit stop of the day. We've got 11.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Alex Al leading the race. Of course, it's by next to nothing. It's 0.6 of a second, waiting for signal about when the safety car may come in. But as they go down the slope from turn 5 down the back straight to turn 6, the lights are still ablaze on top of the safety car. Alex Al follows through. Igor Oretsev, then Ignazio Zanon, fellow VSR racer Matteo Michelotto, Anthony McIntosh. Been a good racer. And car 41, haven't seen too much. That's Pavel Lefterov, the yellow and black car. Drive through penalty now, because it's close to the end of the race, converted to 30 seconds, including car 28. So they were quite quick at coming up, but that's good. You don't want these things to come out after the end of the race. Other cars affected by that. Car number 4, which is shared Iron Link's car of Claude Gosselin and Joran Neutra. That already had a spin at the start of the race. Car 33, which is one of the Autosport racing cars, Milos Pavlovic and Andrea Ruffini, Alessio Ruffini. Car number 34, which is the next one down the order, Paul Levet and Laszlo Toth. Car number 70, which is Leipert Motorsport. That's Balthasar and Regal. They're some distance down the order. And the other car that's got to drive through penalty converted into 30 seconds is car number 83, which is Schumacher CLRT, Simon Gachet, Simon Thurman car. Right, is it wetter or drier than before? I think it's actually becoming a little bit drier. The rain is easing, but as you can see, these shots on screen, unpleasant driving conditions. Sandy Mitchell, wet and dry, but this is that bit in between now. It was very wet, it is drying, but there's absolutely no dry line to be seen.
No, it's the rain's kind of seems to have come on and off throughout the race, and yeah, keeping the track reasonably similar throughout the race, to be honest. And yeah, interesting. Obviously, it makes it much more intense for the driver when the conditions are like this, and maybe that's why we've seen some more cars pick up pit stop penalties, because it's unusual to see so many. There's sort of 6-7 cars on the screen there receiving either a penalty or a drive-through converted into 30 seconds. So yeah, huge news for the championship with car 28 Bonduelle receiving a penalty, because all of a sudden it was looking like he's going to bag a load of points in the top 3, and now potentially a non-point scoring race. So it's made his day tomorrow a lot more difficult.
And also, with the cars running nose to tail behind the safety car, if it had just happened and they'd been hit with that amount of penalty when they were still at race pace, the other cars wouldn't be on his tail. It really does throw him down at the back. So suddenly Largimali's shoulders would be coming up, you know, even though they're running around. What I would like is if the screen could adjust for those penalties already, because you know, then you'd suddenly see Amaury Bonduelle with 30 seconds. It would drop him down to right at the tail of the field, about, in fact, down to 29th position. So
yep,
absolutely is the last of the pack. So what can you do? You can come back tomorrow, but he was the chaser in the championship. He came here 9.5 points down, which is a lot, but it looked after that qualifying, him 5th on the grid and Largimali down in 14th, but he just had to go around. He lost one position early on. He was running 6th. He is running 6th now, but suddenly the world has changed. In fact, he won't be stone last, because with 6 other cars getting time penalties, likewise, they'll be behind him, but it will put him outside the top 20. Wow, how things can change. And we talked about the stupidity of things going wrong in a pit stop and going under your time, and of all things to do at the end of the season. We are not the pit crews, we are not the team managers. We're lucky, you know, I spend my time in commentary boxes, you spend your time in the pit lane racing. And now, great to have you, Sandy, up in the commentary box. But you know what's getting brighter? Look at that. I'm such an optimist about life and things, but just under 8 minutes remaining. Don't know when the safety car will come in, but still a few more time penalties being added to others who had misdemeanors in the pit lane as well. But I'm just looking at the lights on the roof of the Lamborghini safety car that's pacing them around the circuit. We had the North American race. If it'd been 2 minutes longer, we wouldn't have finished behind a safety car. We did have to finish, but it's can't really read this one as to whether it will end behind the safety car. Let's hope not, because I'm really looking forward to a restart, and it might shake the order. The driver who wants it to finish behind the safety car is Alex Howe, because he's leading the field around. The advantage he had that his teammate put on in number 81, Frederick Schandorf, the first half of the race, was appreciable. It was enough for Alex Howe to manage. Now he's got to manage the chasing Igor Oretsev. Car number 41, that's in the mix. That's Pavel Lefterov. He's down in the top 10, but he's running 6th in the pro class, so he'll pick up some points there. 15 points for a win, 12, 10, 8, 6, etc. on down. Of course, sometimes these championships have been sorted on count back. The number of firsts, the same. Number of seconds, the same. Number of thirds are, you know, And so it's tiny, tiny margins. Right. Again, the cameras, Sandy, make it look brighter than it is if you're standing outside here in Spain. Tomorrow's supposed to be okay, and there's lovely days for Saturday and Sunday. And if you're wondering why are we racing on a Thursday, not a traditional racing day, that's because at the final round of the Lamborghini Championships, for the Asian Series, the European Series and the North American, you come here and race on Thursday and Friday, finish your championship, and then Saturday and Sunday is the races dedicated to the World Finals. So plenty of racing. And the good news is the weather should be great for the World Finals and probably okay tomorrow. Today has been difficult. It's certainly been a race of varieties. This is the fourth race of the day. The first was for the Asian Series. The second was for the North American Series. The third was for the AM and Lamborghini Cup classes of the European Series. And these are the pros and the pro-ams, and they've only got 6 minutes remaining in this race. Hopefully, I'm still looking at more times being penalties being issued to drivers, but it's not going to make a real deal unless it is to number 81. That's leading the race. Nothing against Alex Au and Frédéric Chandor's position, or 57 for Igor Oritsev. And a red flag has just been thrown. It's decided that it's too wet to continue this race. That said, we've had remarkably few cars going off into the gravel, but certainly the one that brought it to a conclusion went off a handful of laps ago, and the red flag is there. So the order on our screen is going to change very suddenly, and car number 28 has been corrected to a time penalty of 1.365 seconds. That's rather different to the 30 seconds we'd expect them to have. So someone's been very quick from BDR competition to register their complaint, and that means Bonduelle will possibly lose one position. So it shouldn't be the great disaster we thought had befallen him.
Yeah, finishing behind the safety car is not ideal with when you're receiving a penalty, but it, like you say, it looks like only one position lost potentially, so that still saves him really. And yeah, I did find it interesting. We're getting quite a lot of corrections now, and I think if I'm right in saying, if I remember from when I did Super Trofeo, that you have a 1 second buffer that you can be under the minimum time, and it then gets tripled and added to your time at the end of the race, which I think is why we're seeing some different numbers coming up here on the timing screen. So yeah, it was unusual to see so many cars receive a drive-through penalty, because you have to get it quite wrong to be awarded a drive-through penalty, because you essentially have to be more than 1 second under the minimum time. So yeah, it looks like we're getting some corrections there, and yeah, that won't affect the race result in quite as dramatic fashion.
So, well, thank you. Did you know when you were training to be a racing driver, you had to be a good mathematician as well? But it certainly helps to keep you sort of on your toes. But at the end of that all, session stopped, cars returning to the paddock there. So they lost about the last handful of 5.5 minutes, this 50-minute race. Probably the sensible conclusion, because there was so much water on the track. So victory to Frédéric Chandor and Alex Au. They also win the Pro-Am category today. The top pro car, or just pro, is Igor Oritsev in second place overall. Ignazio Zanon, really good run for car 16 for Vincenzo Sospiri Racing. He shared that with Andrea Frassinetti. They took third place, just ahead of the sister car number 6, which Matteo Michelotto raced all on his own. Second, and Zanon came second in the Pro-Am class. And in fifth place overall, Anthony McIntosh, who shared with Brendan Leach for Leipert Motorsport, they took third in their class. And times being adjusted and then bouncing back again. Anne-Marie Bonduelle still listed as 6th place overall, by a few hundredths of a second ahead of Hampus Eriksson. So he just hung on to the points for third place. So by small margins, Sandy, at this sharp end of the season, things can change. And Alex Au raises his hands. Victory. Was that victory? I've taken victory. Have I? I'll stop in the first position. So he built on the work there of Frédéric Chandor. Didn't have to do too much racing because the safety car came out for a bit. But he'll be delighted there, because, as we heard from Frédéric, you know, they've joined this championship late in the season. It's about coming here, really, for the World Finals. But Igor Oritsev, well, he's happy enough with that, because he gets the pro victory. He gets the 15 points. Too late to save his championship challenge. He came here third, but he's too far back to get in the reckoning. It was a 2-horse race. I'm just going to run down 1, 2, 3, 5. I'm really rubbish at counting, but 7th in class for Söderström and Ali. Starting 14th was never going to be their friend. So they're the championship leaders in the pro class, but their advantage has gone down. So let's go down with Dakota, who's sprung out on Frédéric Chandor before, just waiting for Alex Au to take off his helmet. The race finished under red flag. Dakota, it's all yours.
Thank you. Congratulations, Frédéric. It was As I said before in our interview, it's such a brilliant race from you, and it must feel so good to be back on the podium here at Jerez.
Yeah, I was really glad. Unfortunately, I'm sad that Alex didn't get to drive, but obviously he's going to take it tomorrow. So I'm just really glad to be back with Alex here again with the World Final, and hopefully we can continue like this for the rest of the weekend.
Alex, how sad are you that you did not get to drive, but you're still finishing in first place?
Oh, no, I don't get to drive, but I get a different trophy this time. So what can I complain about, right? And I did manage to keep it on the road, which is, something.
Tomorrow's meant to be sunnier, hopefully. It couldn't be much more rainy. So is that going to suit you?
No, actually, I quite like the rain. But yeah, a difficult race tomorrow, but we'll see what happens.
Any comment from you, Frederick? You're fast in the wet or the dry?
Let's see tomorrow, but it should be, hopefully. I only brought my shorts here, so this is not what I expected in Malaga.
Congratulations, guys. It's a win, and a win is a win. Go up to the podium and collect your trophy.
Thank you.
So that's Frederick Schandorf and Alex out. It must be a strange feeling, though. You come here to race and your gun is spiked a little bit, but he didn't drop it. None of them dropped it. And you don't expect them under the safety car, but those conditions, Sandy Mitchell, were changing all the time.
Yeah, I think the driving standards throughout the race were very good. Not much contact, not too many cars going off, and as we said, it was really tricky conditions out there. So yeah, good job all round from everyone. And yeah, like Alex says there, it's nice to go home with an overall winner's trophy, especially when you're not in the pro class. It doesn't happen very often. So yeah, disappointing for him not to show his skills there at the end of the race and yeah, have a bit of a battle. But yeah, goes home with the overall win, which is another nice feeling.
Well, someone else who's got a feeling he'll get a trophy. He'll be on the top step of the podium. He didn't win the race, but Igor Oretsev is in second place overall. He won the pro class, and Dakota's down there. I think we may have an interview coming out. Igor's waiting very, very faithfully there. And certainly he did a very, very good job. I fancy he might have taken overall victory had the field been released. He was looking very, very good. And we talked, Sandy, about the advantage you have if you're doing the entirety of the race in changing conditions. But Igor didn't put a wheel wrong.
No, absolutely. Great driving all round.
So let's go down to Dakota. We talked to Igor Oretsev. You talked to him, Dakota.
Congratulations, Igor, and it's fantastic championship points for you. You know, Bondwell had a penalty, and Nagab and Oliver finished way behind. So, this is really, really good points for the championship.
Yeah, we cannot reach P1 anyway, so it's a big fight with Andrea. Is that his name? I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, it's good points. I'm happy to continue our podium streak. A bit sad that it finished under safety car because I think it doesn't feel like winning in a race because we are P2. But nevertheless, good car, great car. I managed well. Would have been a bit quicker before stop, but I didn't want to risk it much as the rain got heavier. So.
Look, it was a great race for you, and we're going on to tomorrow's race, but we've got to go up to the podium now and collect Igor's trophy.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you, Dakota, doing the job of chasing the drivers up to the podium. That's always welcome. Sometimes drivers after a race almost forget they have to go up there. But it's rather simpler, of course. We had just the Pro and the Pro-Ams runners in this race, so we'll have 3 crews coming out onto the podium. So your final thoughts there, Sandy, on what you've just seen. Tricky, wasn't it?
Yeah, tricky, but yeah, it's going to make for an exciting race tomorrow now with, the 28 and the 9 car. It's almost a two-horse shootout and very close on points going into tomorrow. I think it'll just be a handful or less. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. And, yeah, should be dry and they'll go for it again.
OK, well, the race finished under red flag, but let's remind ourselves of the final classification at the end of the Pro and Pro-Am race here at Jerez. Race number 1 of 2 for the final round of the European Championship. And victory to Alex Au and Frederick Schandorf in the end, 0.6 of a second. It was behind a safety car, though. Of course, the field closed in. Igor Oretsev took second place, but also the Pro class win because it was a Pro-Am lineup that took victory. Andrea Frasinetti, Ignazio Zanon, their season gets better and better. And for Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, his driver Matteo Michelotto made it a 3-4 result for the team. But the one needs to look for 7th in the Pro class, but down in 13th overall. That was the Pro class leaders coming here, Lagi Mali and Oliver Soderstrom. They didn't come away with the points. It tightens up the championship, but from a spectator's point of view, that's great. But for theirs, they're going to have to hope that everything goes well again tomorrow. Conditions were tricky. People largely kept it on the island, and but they look at the weather forecast. The weather forecast is for improved weather tomorrow and getting better through Saturday and Sunday, and we should have the what we all expect. If you packed your shorts coming here, you won't get them out till the weekend. Spanish sun will be coming. But today, you know what? I love watching racing in the wet, and particularly when it's wet and it's changing. You know, the drivers don't know what to expect from corner to corner, from lap to lap. And so many of them, they hardly saw the track. The spray was enormous, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And, yeah, plenty of overtaking in different areas. And, yeah, a real challenge for the drivers. But I'm sure some of them who maybe don't like the wet conditions quite so much will be looking forward to getting back on the slick tyres tomorrow. New tyres go again.
You can bet so. So let's take a look at the highlights of the race. Well, that was a short set of highlights there, but the shot I loved most, Sandy, was the drain above the pit lane, just water pouring out of that, and that was before the cars went out of the circuit. So for all these drivers assembling behind the podium, they have plenty to think about, but they've got the wet one out of the way, and it was properly wet, but the thing that really stands out to me was the amount of spray they had all around the circuit in a packed field of cars.
Yeah, you could see it, especially from the onboard camera shots there, how wet it was, and also the visibility. So, yeah, all these drivers really deserved to be on this podium, and I'm sure that feels pretty nice after a tricky race.
Yeah, certainly so. It's good to see that, you know, everybody's got a story to tell. I love looking at the fact that most of these drivers, you know, they're racing against each other. There's Anthony McIntosh chatting to Alex out, meetings of drivers from all around the world, but they've got stories to tell, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And often at the start of the season, you're a bit wary of some of your competitors, but often once you've kind of been door to door and maybe had a bit of action on the track, you gain that respect and realise that in the end you're all quite similar and aiming for the same goal. So yeah, it's nice to see the drivers chatting, and yeah, it might get a little bit more tense as the week goes on, but everyone here is happy and had a good race, so it's nice to see.
I think so, and also each year you get those that have done a championship before versus newcomers, and you have to really gauge how a newcomer who might be quite quick, close to your pace, you know, how do they behave in corners? You know, do they go for the dive, or are they respectful? But you know, it's all part of the learning process, and so for the young drivers here, there's a lot to learn as well. Looking at Ignazio Zanon and Andrea Frasinetti. For the older drivers, there may be a little more, they cut a little more space for others. Not all of them though. Some people never lose their sort of sharp fist, do they?
No, absolutely not. Sometimes you know, they won't want the junior drivers coming past them, that's for sure. So yeah, it's you've got a fight out there, and yeah, it's pretty ruthless.
Well, if you're joining us now, you've missed the racing. We're coming back again tomorrow. We had 4 races here today. It's the penultimate it's the final round, the penultimate race today for the Asian Championship, the North American Championship, and 2 races. Split grid, if you will. The European field was so big for them. They have to do it all over again tomorrow, and the driver who started the race today will be the second driver tomorrow. So plenty of variety. We hope for dry tracks. And then, of course, you get to the weekend, and that's the time for the World Finals, and see if you can make your season even better or recover something if the luck has not been yours through the course of the championship. But any moment now, the drivers should go out. And, of course, anybody joining us now, look, oh, it's a bit of a dull afternoon, but it's not raining, at least at Jerez. Oh, we've had rain, trust me. We certainly have. And but the good news is, for the World Finals coming on Saturday and Sunday, the weather, according to the weather forecasters, if you want to believe them, is set fair. It will be sunshine. Tomorrow should be turning into sunshine, and so it will have another stirring of the pot, a total different mix of the ingredients. But the final set of trophies being awarded here on the Thursday at Circuito de Jerez are there on the table, waiting for the drivers to be called out on the podium. And this was the race for the Pro-Am drivers, and one of those pairings took overall victory. That was Alex Au and Frederick Schandorf. And also for the pro driver lineups and their trophies, 3rd, 2nd and 1st, sitting there in the order in which they'll be presented. So we need the green flag or the national flag to be waved, and the drivers come out onto the podium and Cameras in position, waiting for it now. So for some drivers, it could be the first of 4 podium visits if they've had a fantastic weekend. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. All I can tell you right now, the victory in the 4th of the races on the opening day of 4 days of racing for the Super Trofeo Series has gone to Alex Au, and the driver who did all the hard work, Fredrik Schandorf, for Target Racing car number 81. But we will have 3rd, 2nd and 1st coming out for the Pro and the Pro-Am classes very soon indeed. Flags only just blowing above them, so maybe this wet weather won't clear through, but it has stopped raining for now. Feels like a race at the Nürburgring or Spa when you spend all the time talking about how the weather's changing, what you can see, what you cannot. And it must be said, 2024 will go down as a year in which a lot of the races, the big sports car and GT races have been very, very wet indeed. You know, all the problems at Le Mans with the endless rain, the fog in the Nürburgring 24 hours, each of these championships, notably actually the Shanghai round, the round before this for the Asian Series, when the rain came, and this was the day before the biggest typhoon in 75 years hit Shanghai. You're going down to turn 13 down that long straight, and you get to the end and you might as well be in a boat. It was unbelievable, but the drivers did well. But here, not quite as tricky, but certainly not an easy process. But the podium ceremony is upon us. Sandy, thank you very much. I hope you're going to come and join me for subsequent days, but out on the podium now. You're done. I'll take it through. Thanks very much.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, so the drivers coming out. This is the Pro-Am class. We've got Anthony McIntosh on the right-hand side of the podium with Brendan Leach. We've got Ignazio Zanon and Andrea Frasinetti. They came 3rd overall, but 2nd in the Pro-Am class. And our race winners, Alex Au and Fredrik Schandorf, coming out onto the top step of the podium. Victory today, top in the Pro-Am class as well. But they don't feature in that championship so much because they missed really almost all the season. So as the trophy presentations commence, the teams that finished 1st, 3rd and 5th overall were for the Pro-Am classes. And as Marco Picci hands out the trophies, first of all to Anthony McIntosh and Brendan Leach, then to Ignazio Zanon and Andrea Frasinetti, and then the winners' trophies in the Pro-Am class. And of course, they won the outright trophy in the race as well. Alex Au on the top step with Fredrik Schandorf as well for Target Racing.
Thank you to Marco Pizzi, and now we welcome Manfred Sandvikler, Hankook Tire Europe Motorsport Director, handing out the trophy to the team manager of the winner team.
And there you can hear the announcements from Marietta Evans, and the trophy to the winners team. The teams get prizes too. And Target Racing came here leading the team's championship, and I haven't quite done the math, but that might just take them to the title. So it's miles around. We've still got the pro drivers to come out for their podium, and they finished 2nd, 4th and 6th with Amaury Bonduelle. Championship lead is closing in on the championship lead. He got a penalty, had it changed down to 1.3 seconds rather than 30 seconds, which had briefly been proffered. So that means the Pro Drivers' Championship with the car that was the crew that were leading coming home only in 7th position. That will have closed in a little bit. Third place points, that's 10 points for them. Certainly has more than halved the gap, but that means it's all to play for in the Pro Championship tomorrow. So victors outright and winning the Pro-Am class, Fredrik Schandorf and Alex Au for Target Racing. But in that championship, there we are, it's been settled. Bronek, Formagnac and Stefan Rosina, they did what they needed to do today. And those that shone in the class hadn't been in the championship at the front end through the year, and in fact had largely missed the championship. So it was a chance for the regulars to come out on top. And congratulations to Mechaneck Motorsport. They have taken that title today. And here we have the pro driver lineup. Amaury Bonduelle on the stage right. He's 3rd in the pro, 6th overall. And then in second place in the Pro Championship today, Mattia Michelotto drove to 4th place overall. Igor Oretsev may have won if the race had not finished behind the safety car, but second on the track this afternoon, and that gives him maximum points in the Pro Championship. He came here third. He will remain third because the first two crews of Largim Ali and Oliver Soderstrom were too far clear, along with Amaury Bonduelle, who's a driver on the right-hand side of the podium. He takes the third place points today to close the gap in the Pro Class Honours. One more race to go of the 12-race, 6-round series for the European Super Trofeo, but today sorted things out, shook them up, and certainly poured water all over them. It was very, very wet today. And you know what? In the Pro Class, if you're running, you know, in a one-driver lineup, I think when the weather conditions are changing, your pit stop is 3 seconds longer than if you have a teammate, but I do think it's an advantage. And I think the proof of that is we have 3 one-driver lineups there in the top 3 finishing positions. They have to do it all again tomorrow. These drivers may get to spray their champagne tomorrow. A lot of them keeping their powder dry. That'd be about the only thing dry about them. But it was super tricky for the Pro and Pro-App lineup today here at Circuito de Jerez. I mean, it was so rainy, even the commentary box window has steamed up. But let's take a look at the car that came through to take the honours. It was slippery, slippery all the way, but Igor Oretsev for the Artline team got the job done. Championship still being led, but now only by 2.5 points by Largim Ali and Oliver Soderstrom. They ended 7th in class today, but third in class was enough to move Amaury Bonduelle closer to them. Igor Oretsev can't catch them. He won the class, but you can see he's many points down in third overall. Mattia Michelotto moving up a little bit as well in terms of points, but not in terms of position. So it's a 2-horse race. It was before the race. The gap has closed. Bonduelle is closing in on Ali and Soderstrom. And that is it from the Thursday here at Jerez. We're going to show you the highlights. That's it for me, Bruce Jones, and my crew of support commentators who did a great job. Do join us again tomorrow.